Good Wednesday evening, everybody. It's 8 o'clock. It's hurricane season, so here we are with our daily hurricane season complete update on everything going on in the Atlantic Basin. And today is a special day. It's the statistical peak of hurricane season. If you were with us last night, we talked a little bit how statistics are interesting. We keep historical records so we can get an idea when storms are more likely to form and when over time they've been most likely to form. So when is the day it's most likely to have a named system out there in the Atlantic Basin? Well, it's September 10th. It's today. But that doesn't mean we're going to have a system out there on September the 10th today. And in fact, we do not. There's very little, in fact, there's nothing at all actually going on out there right now. There is a new spot, an area in the open Atlantic that the Hurricane Center has delineated with a 20% chance for development over the next 7 days. We'll look at that. But other than that, it has been unusually quiet in the Atlantic so far. Just to compare, early season storms form in the Gulf and off the East Coast. You've got late season fronts coming in. This area warms up quicker and sooner, and so that's where you get activity early season. At peak season, where we are right now, the entire Atlantic is open for business, and you can get a lot of activity even out here in the main development region. And that actually is where the Hurricane Center has outlined a 20% chance, a new area for potential development. But so far, it has been very, very much below what was forecast. Now, they're forecasting 16 named storms, 14 is normal, so forecasting an above normal season. Right now, we stand at a solid 30% below normal for this time, for up to this point in the hurricane season. Normally, statistically, we usually see more activity than what we're seeing right now, so we're well behind. Hurricanes are forecasting 8, normal is 7. Major hurricanes forecasting 3, and that is normal for 3. So far, we've had one hurricane. That was Aaron, one hurricane that went to Cat 5. If it weren't for Aaron going to Cat 5, we would, based on the accumulated cyclone energy index, be more than 30% behind. We'd be way, way behind. But that one right now is saving the statistics. Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, and Ferdinand were all very weak, very little, piddly little tropical storms. They came and went very, very quickly. Aaron is Cat 5, but the center of Aaron avoided all land. So not only are we below normal based on an average season, we're well below based on the above average season that was forecast, and the one hurricane failed to hit any landmass. So it's been a quiet season as well. Sometimes you can have a very quiet season and you'll get one hurricane that hits a heavily populated area. That happened, one very memorable one for me and Houstonians in 1983. Hurricane Alicia was the only hurricane to hit the mainland U.S. that year. It was the A storm, was the first named storm, and it didn't happen until August. And it hit us as a Cat 3. That was the last time, based on wind speed, that we had a major hurricane hit here. Now, Ike in 2008, statistically, officially on the wind scale was Cat 2, but the surge was way over the top. It was a 1900 storm type surge. It was not, didn't hit Galveston. The big surge hit Bolivar and wiped all the homes off Bolivar. So that was when we separated the surge forecast from the hurricane wind speed forecast, because we didn't realize even a weakening system can have a surge that is reminiscent of a Cat 4 or a Cat 5. So we've had some historical storms here. The 1900 storm, the A storm, and the only storm to hit the mainland in 1983 was Alicia. The last time we had a Cat 3 based on wind. And then we had the storm that changed the way we measure storm surge, which was Ike in 2008. That's where we stand right now as far as names and storms go. Plenty of warm water out there. I mention it every time. Just because you have warm water, you could have sea surface temperatures in the mid-90s out here. It doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you're going to have a high storm count. There's so many other factors that we do understand, and so many factors that we don't understand, that warm water is really just like checking a box. Now, if you get a developed storm to go over that really warm water, yes, it can feed on that energy and really help it to blow up. But as far as getting a storm count, it doesn't statistically hold up. We look at sea surface temps out into the open Atlantic. Here's your main development region. Temperatures above 80 degrees is all you need to get a big hurricane going. And they're well above 80 degrees out there. But nothing at the moment has formed out there or is forming out there. It looks like there are a couple of factors going into this below normal season so far. The dust is a dry layer of air. That is also a sinking layer of air. We've had a constant supply of dust coming off the west coast of Africa. And so that has led to a drier atmosphere out here that can reduce storm count. It can also keep storms from forming. Those that would normally form if you didn't have the dust don't get a chance to, because the dry air gets entrained in the system and breaks it up. It appears there's also been a little increase in wind shear across the Atlantic basin. That's winds at mid-levels that can kind of disrupt a developing circulation. So there's been wind shear, there's been dry air. Those are the two big factors that it appears has lowered the storm count. Also, the waves coming off the west coast of Africa have just not been as vigorous as in past seasons. Why that is, we don't have all the answers, but that's the way it has been so far. But again, I will remind you, we're only halfway through. We have the whole other half of the season to go, and things can pick up and change rapidly in the tropics. That being said, there's another plume of dust forecast to come off the west coast of Africa. Perhaps that will keep things dry and keep things from developing too rapidly out here over the next several days. Now that goes out to Wednesday, September the 17th. Keep that date in mind, September the 17th. Okay, tropical waves. We've got a couple of them in the open Atlantic. There's none of them in the Carib or the Gulf, so nothing knocking on the door here. Again, I say that, remember, that can change overnight. So this is an update you need to watch every single day during hurricane season so no one gets caught off guard. It was Allison, 01, that no one really saw. It just sort of developed right on our doorstep off the coast, came in as a tropical storm, went up to Dallas for a day, then came back here and flooded us. So that's just an example of how quickly things can change overnight here in Houston and Southeast Texas and in the tropics. Tropical wave 1, tropical wave number 2, neither of which showing any significant signs of development. It appears we're getting another wave right here. It's about to emerge off the west coast of Africa. And it looks like that is the wave that the Hurricane Center is going to be eyeballing. So they haven't marked an area of disturbed weather yet. It's still here, coming off the west coast of Africa. But once that gets out here over the water, gets west of the Cape Verde Islands, they believe it has a slight chance, a 20% chance of developing somewhere in this area as it drifts west-northwest over the next 7 days. Now, that would take us out to the 17th. So the dust is still there over the 17th. So it may be that the dust keeps it from developing at all. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, we understand a lot of factors out here, and there are a lot of things that we still do not understand about hurricane and tropical system propagation. The models, they're only as good as our science and our algorithms. And as far as whether that wave will develop or not, the Euro in black picks up on it. It does eventually develop a system of one degree or another, the closed isobars, lines of equal pressure, delineating some sort of a tropical system northeast of the Lesser Antilles as we head into September the 20th. So that's way out there. It's 10 days out. Take long-range modeling with a big grain of salt. You try to get out past 3, 4, 5 days, and the amount of error really starts to grow. That's what the long-range model is suggesting right now. Europe, the GFS in red doesn't pick up on it. So only the Euro picking up on it. The American model says, nope, we will take it one day at a time and see how it plays out. As far as NOAA and the Hurricane Center looking further out, 17th, remember the 17th when we have that dust out here, 17th through the 23rd, they're not saying we're going to see development. This is just where statistically and environmentally they look out and they attempt to make a long-range forecast, long-range outlook, and they say this is an area where there's a little bit above normal possibility for development in the time frame, the 17th through the 23rd, that spot. And you can already see it when we get into fall, especially getting into late September and October, this part of the basin can become more active. So that is based on climatology, and then also just based on the fact that also at that time, quite often we'll get the South American gyre going, and sometimes that can spin off a little low pressure area that under the right conditions can get going. So 17th through the 23rd, they've got the Southern Gulf and the Western Caribbean labeled as an area of possible development. Actually, they believe this is the best chance for storm development, which is in the Pacific. And it is quite often seen that when you get a very active East Pac, East Pacific, you'll get a very quiet Atlantic basin. Sometimes that's how it plays out. So we'll watch for that possibility as well. As far as here in Houston, we actually have a slight chance for a scattered shower tomorrow. 10% in the morning, 20% by noon, 30% by 4. If it does give you a scattered shower, it should be splash and dash real quick. This is the humidity coming back up. So the past couple of mornings that have been so delightful, this morning low of 64, we won't see that again. We're going to a low of 72 as the humidity comes up. But that will give us a slight chance for a scattered shower, and the best chance for that to actually happen south of I-10 toward the coast. So don't cancel any practices or anything like that. The extended forecast, 20% chance for an isolated storm Friday, 20% Saturday, back to the mid-90s for the weekend, back to lows in the mid-70s. That's another sign the humidity is coming up as we head into the second half of the weekend. Oh, September. Football gets going, back in school, and then the weather teases us with a couple of early fallish days, lovely mornings where we don't sweat for a couple of days. It's so wonderful, and it just never lasts. September, to me, can be the cruelest month in Houston, because after a little tease, we warm back up and the humidity comes back. And that's just full-blown like summer-like weather going into the weekend and early next week. If you're new to Southeast Texas or the Houston area, when do we actually finally get our first front that you really like? Okay, that's a pretty good cold front. That is usually not until right around Halloween, sometime right before or right after October 31st. So we got more cruelty to go. That's where we stand tonight in the tropics and here in Houston. Next live update on KHLU 11.